Mic wasn't on. Why do I do that? Why don't I have some auto feature to turn the mic on? I was wondering when you were going to pick up and say, I don't hear you.
Dude, I was literally, because I'm delayed. So I've seen you move and I'm like, wait, he's not.
Oh, anyway, good morning, everybody. Who doesn't enjoy that ditty that you just heard there and followed up by dead air? Anyway, as I was saying there, who can't do a little dance hearing that music in the morning? Once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. And I'm so glad to be hosting DYOR live here on the DYOR Media Network with my co-host, Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. Good morning, Pedro. How are you?
I am well, man. I am so well. Things are good. Thanksgiving was great. I had a lot of turkey, actually chicken, and had good gravy. And you know what? I am a stuffing man. Like, I love good stuffing, and like stovetop stuffing, I think is like the pinnacle of great, but it basically it just kills you. Like, it literally kills you. There's so many things in it. Like, there's a reason why it tastes good, right? Like, it literally is filled with
just chemicals.
Literally. So if you can create something that tastes almost exactly like it, right, with like bouillon and other things that are decent, right? Man, I'm happy. So where I went, they had some good stuffing, great gravy, had some good. I'm a dark meat man. I love a good juicy dark meat. Like, so they did chicken, and man, it was just like, good Lord Jesus, help me, please.
Good Lord Jesus.
Woo, sweet baby Jesus. Lord forgive me. But it was great. It was really a great place and great conversation. And I got to hang with friends of mine that are like brothers. So it was good. It was good. How was yours?
I spent Thanksgiving with you yesterday.
Oh yes.
My kids are coming over this afternoon for Thanksgiving, so I'll have that to do. But it's just going to be a simple affair. I've got the grocery store across the street. Their butcher will actually cook whatever you want for you. Yeah, it's great. They have a big grill in the store, and so you just go over there and order a steak, and then you go. And I live within close walking distance, so I go buy mashed potatoes, a meal, steak, everything. Pay for it. Go back to the butcher, and he still has the steak. And he asks how you want it done, how you want it seasoned. I walk across the street to my crib. I put the mashed potatoes in the oven to warm up because I buy them pre-made, and then I put the vegetables in the pot to boil. Walk back across the street, pick up the cooked steak. I tell them to just cook it a little underdone, or a little less than I tell them to. Like, if I say a medium, I say medium rare. Then I come back, put the steak in my oven for a minute, plate everything else up, get the steak out, slice it. Now it's a perfect medium. Serve it.
How was that? Doom, 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 doom.
Oh, we got Crypto Be Well in the house. Keep going, Tom.
Snap.
Coming to us from that very safe town of Memphis, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very safe town. That is just nothing but suburbs and nothing going on there.
Hey, be well. If you could do us a favor, hit that thumbs up and like and possibly a share. We'd appreciate it immensely. We're just trying to get this thing up and running, get it going. We got 3 people watching. Whoop, whoop. I'm one of them. Whoop, whoop. Oh, Tom, are you the other?
No, I don't have it on right now.
Oh, nice. We got 2 right off the jump. Look at that.
On this Friday. Some people are back to work today. Some people only had yesterday off. But anyway, like we always say, where's your comment? Good morning, everyone. Hope all is well from our co-host Pedro here.
And the good old DYOR Media Network. Welcome, everyone. Please like, share, and follow.
Just do it.
Just do it. Do it.
All right, let me gotta find the.
We had some really unique things happening in the crypto market yesterday, right? With CZ and what was actually going on. It's actually been a bit of a trip, I have to admit. I'm just watching what was up, and just to see, even in the midst of like the U.S. holidays, which is typically always kind of kept the world kind of at bay and made everybody, well, the U.S. isn't doing anything. Now it's like they're like, the U.S. Who's the U.S.? Like, it's just It's kind of nuts how it just never ends, right? It's just kind of never ending saga of crypto, right?
Oh, there's some good ones this morning. Just hold on, I'm doing a little bit more social media. Just let us know.
Oh yeah. But it's just real interesting to sit there and see like Ethereum. There's a lot of Ethereum whales right now amassing almost 125 billion dollars, holding 52% of circulating supply. The top 200 wallets, which is I said that was like holy crap, that's crazy. Jim Cramer shifts his opinion on crypto, urges investors in Bitcoin during market surge. So I think this is actually a telling sign of we potentially could see a Bitcoin drop unless he decided to switch up his. I mean, and I keep talking about the supply zone here. So
I don't have your chart up.
oh,
I was just I wanted to hit a couple of news items before we move into the chart things here, but I can't find them. Hold on, where is it? Oh yeah, I wanted to show you this one. I don't know if you can read it on the screen here. The text, I don't have my new studio's screen size right.
I see it.
Bitcoin Sender struck with $3.1 million transaction fee, the largest in history. What happened was the wallet was created and the guy sent 139 BTC to it, but only 56 arrived. And the miner took. I don't understand how Bitcoin UXTO or UTXO, whatever they're called, transactions work. But I thought there was a max gas that you would be willing to pay, like when it says approve the transaction, that if it's more than what you said or more than slippage or whatever, it doesn't go through. And this guy got $3.1 million in transaction fees pulled out of it. Pedro, do you have an idea that the Bitcoin transaction fee? I mean, I understand like MetaMask and all the Ethereum EVM style chains and how their gas works. And to be honest, I don't understand how the Bitcoin gas works and how someone could get a giant percentage of their transaction taken out in fees. Do you understand how that works?
No, in all reality, like, I love BNB because that can never happen.
Right.
So I go through, I purchase, I'm not buying a ton of anything right now, right? Because I do think that we're going to see a nice little sell-off coming here real soon. So right now, my purchasing areas are down in this 10,000, 15,000 area here.
Right.
Like when it comes to this stuff. Like I said, once we came back down to that 20,000 mark area here, I would have probably go through and start purchasing my area here. So I don't know the full details of how the transactions work in Bitcoin. Like legit, and I probably, that's something I'm going to do over this weekend here is actually learn about that. And
I have to go back. I've read the Bitcoin white paper once a while ago, but the concepts sunk in about it, but not the details of how that works. All right, so let's see. What was the other news thing? I thought that was just an interesting thing for the Bitcoin maxis out there, or all things Bitcoin, to get screwed like that. Speaking of getting screwed, Kyber Swap. REKT. Kyber Swap is it's a liquidity protocol. Kyber Swap Elastic saw its TVL, total value locked, fall from 71 million to under 3 million. Its losses were spread out as followed: 20 million on Arbitrum, 15 million on Optimism, 7.5 on ETH, 3 on Poly, 2 on Base, 23,000 on Avalanche. They got wrecked. It's been a tough week. Over $300 million lost in the past week or two. Probably a lot more, but in the major protocols and major projects, Poloniex, 126 million. Kronos Research, 26 million. Hicho, whatever it's called, Bridge, and HTX. 2 of those by Justin Sun. For
Justin Sun.
Oh yes, Sun. I get his name wrong. Call him Jin Sun, Jing Sang, Jugmeat, Jugdish.
Justin, it's literally Justin Sun.
Yeah, just like not just in time, but Justin Sun.
Yeah,
and
not
so
Justin,
another
not Justin
one.
Moon, not Justin Moon, Justin Sun.
Let's say, as a
Again,
precautionary measure, we strongly advise all users to promptly withdraw their funds. Our team is working on the situation, and we commit to keeping you informed with regular updates. But your money gone. Bye-bye. Money gone. And it says, honestly, given the hacker left on-chain instructions, it's probably just best to withdraw from Kyber and be done with it. Hacker takes you step by step through the process of how he hacked Kyber. Oh, it's a Black Friday indeed. Imagine waking up on a Black Friday. You're like, I'm going to get all the sales this morning. Yeah, I'm going to get my discount on TradingView. I'm going to get my discount on this trading room I belong to. I'm going to, go out to the mall and get a TV at 85% off. And then you got nothing. You got nothing because your crypto protocol storage place got all its money hacked.
dude, that would I can't even imagine. Dude, this is why your own wallet, man, not your coins, not your wallet, not your coins, right?
Speaking
That's why.
yeah, you're right. Speaking of names I can't pronounce, Duquan has been extradited. Extradition's been approved from Montenegro to the U.S. But he might go to South Korea. The U.S. wants him, and they'll probably get him because they'll probably just give South Korea a couple $1 million or something. South Korea will be like, you handle that shit.
Dude, the SEC's going to fry him.
All right, I know.
Dude, they're going to take so much. It's scary. What do you think? Here, paint me a scenario that could literally just go crazy.
The SEC charges him with a theft of $1 billion or whatever, and says he's going to go to jail for 80 years. Well, I'm sorry, the U.S. Department of Justice does that on behalf of the SEC. So if it's criminal, the Department of Justice handles it. If it's a civil, the SEC handles it.
You know what would be his best? I mean, in all honesty, have him go to North Korea and sit there and say, I'm screwed, but I'm really good at this. Do you want me? Because either way, he's spending life in prison one way or another.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
And it's sad because it's he was, whether he was trying or not, or even go to China and be like, hey, look, China, they actually need America. So I think they would listen to America if they said, listen, we want him. And they'd be like, all right, cool, you can take him. Right. I think China would give him up. But North Korea, with his skill set already, I think they would take him. I do think so. I mean that's because he's screwed. I mean, he would have to wait maybe 30 years, 30 years where, he's still young, right? What is he, in his 20s, right?
Yeah, he's still a young guy. I don't know if he's in his 20s. He may be in his early 30s by now. I mean, he's been in the market a while.
But him going to and North Korea isn't that bad. I mean, he would.
Wait, whoa! I mean, if you're friends of the great leader, it's probably not so bad. But the whole country sucks, and you can see it on the outline of satellite photos. They can, just like that we were talking about the Dominican Republic and Haiti. You can see it in South Korea and North Korea. It's like, what the hell's going on here?
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing. In contrast to a lifetime in prison, okay, versus going through and hanging out and still having your freedom somewhat in North Korea. If I had to pick, if I was, I'd sit there and be like, all right, these are my options, right? I could go to Russia. They might take me, Russia, but oligarchs are real. And one wrong move, and I'm not necessarily the best. I'm not Russian there, right? I am Asian, so I'd want to think. So, if I was Do Kwon, right, I would sit there and be like, all right, what would be my options? What are my best options to live? Right, I can't go to some, Bahamian.
Can't go hang out with Sam's parents in the Bahamas.
Yeah. It's that obviously didn't work. So my only options are arid places where they just hate the U.S. right, or the Western civil. I guess he could go to Iran. I mean, but they're not really using I mean, in all honesty, they're not using crypto anymore. So that's, and so that's what I was saying. It's like his best option is literally comparative to, i.e., prison. It's it's North Korea because they do a lot of hacking. We already know that. They do a bunch of stuff in crypto. We already know that.
Right.
It makes sense. I don't know. Maybe like as Do Kwon, start working on your Korean. Oh wait, is he Korean? No, he's
I don't know.
Chinese. Sorry.
But here we got another headline here. This I did not know from this. I thought when CZ made the deal, he was free and clear. The way they originally presented the deal was that they settled the case, everything's good, going to pay this huge fine, and Binance.com will be able to operate in the U.S. again, which of course we've now learned is totally not true. Binance.com is not only banned from the U.S., but they've agreed to have a U.S. Monitor VPN connections to make sure U.S. citizens are not VPNing into Binance.com from somewhere else, and to go over their KYC for everyone to make sure they're not Americans, which basically says the U.S. Justice Department is going to read every one of Binance's clients, which means if you've ever used Binance in the past and tried to hide it, the U.S. Justice Department's going to have your info now. But now also the government is claiming that Binance's ex-CEO poses a serious risk of flight and asking that he stay in the U.S. For pleading guilty to one charge of violating the Bank Secrecy Act. But under the terms of his current bond, CZ can leave the U.S. having put up $15 million in a trust account and signed a $175 million personal recognizance bond and found guarantors putting up additional funds. And the prosecutors say this is insufficient. If Zhao did not return to the U.S., they wouldn't be able to secure the 175, blah, blah, blah. And he's a citizen of the UAE now. And during the hearing on Tuesday, Zhao's attorneys argued forcing him to stay in the U.S. prior to sentencing would be a hardship for him and his family. His wife and children cannot relocate to the U.S. during the period. I'm guessing they are not allowed into the U.S. I mean, come on, man. He's one of the most famous guys in the world. What's he going to do? Go to the Dubai and say, screw you guys? No. I mean,
Yeah. Dude, they're coming down. They're gonna literally they're coming down on crypto. Like the DOJ, man. It's like,
well, if you don't sign a partnership agreement with J.P. Morgan or Bank of America and go do some of that adult things to Gary Gensler in the back room, it's not happening. It's not happening.
yo, it's
It's Black Friday. You can get away with these things. It's just like,
dude.
just like Bob Uecker on the show Major League, and he drops the F-bomb. The other guy says, "You can't say that." And he's pouring Jack Daniels. He goes, "It's radio. Nobody's listening anyway."
Yeah. Well, what movie was that, man?
Major League. It was a movie about the Cleveland
Yeah.
Indians going to the World Series with all those characters. It's such a great movie.
Yeah, that was with the guy. I'm winning. What was his name?
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, as plays the Wild Thing.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, though, when I first saw that movie, which button is the right one? There we go. When I first saw that movie, I noticed Charlie Sheen could pitch, and like he had a real motion, not like an actor motion.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, he really must have really trained for this pretty well. It turns out Charlie Sheen was a college pitcher. He was actually a real pitcher. And so playing a pitcher in a movie was no big deal for him. He was actually he had a big high kick. I was like, wow, this guy's good. Turns out he can play well in the California Penal League in the movie Major League. What league are you playing in? The California League. As the camera pans out, he's in prison. It's the California Penal League.
It's hilarious. Jumping back to doing things for adults, I want to say, Mr. Gensler, hey, it was just a joke. No offense to you. This is for entertainment purposes only, educational and entertainment purposes only. Please do not take offense to this if in the future. Just letting you know. Respect to you. We know you worked really hard.
Letting you know we just joke. Them's just jokes. Them's
I'm
just
just
jokes.
jokes. I'm just jokes. We
Just
just
jokes,
joking
man.
here. Just all jokes. All right. I don't need to spend years in prison just for making little jokes. Okay. All right. So with that said,
All right. So with that said, I've got a new disclaimer that won't break the other one, so don't worry about that.
what's the new? What is it?
No, remember I was worried about pressing the disclaimer button and it would my system froze. I've got a new one that won't do that.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Perfect. Yes. This is good. This is good. I'm actually looking at the. We had 2 viewers here. Are you on LinkedIn here? So not bad. How many do you have for it?
You know what? I'm not in the LinkedIn management
Oh, it's all good. It's all right.
thing, so I can't tell.
It is all good. It is all good. I've been trying to gauge the whole entire interaction so that we can really, um, really do good. Text T. What is text T?
Oh, I'm just. I thought I had saved the disclaimer, so I'm remaking it.
Oh, no worries.
Just don't worry about it.
It is all good. It is all good. You are. All right. So I just think it's really interesting to see what's actually going on. So what other news things did you pull up?
You know what? I was transitioning into we could go on with the news all day. I'll come back to a couple stories in a little bit, but let's hit the markets and see what's going on with the markets.
Sounds great. All right, guys. So one thing that I do want to bring up is we do have our good old friend, what's his name? Jim Cramer, now bullish on the market, on the crypto markets. So that does make me feel, and we're bullish. He's bullish at an area where we have supply, meaning there are sellers sitting here. So potentially we could be offloading, his friends could be offloading their positions of this going higher here. So it's going to be really interesting to see. And the reason why I bring this up is it's very well known and there are literally ETFs that they do the opposite of what Cramer says. So if Cramer is long, they actually go short. If Cramer is short, they go long. And there's literally 2 ETFs that do this. And so I just think it
is quite hilarious.
ETFs. Yeah, they're called reverse Cramer ETFs. Is what they're called. You can actually go through. And so because it's notorious to sit there. I mean, he's over a long period of time, if you follow his strategy, he has the initial pump where like he calls something out, it'll pump, right? Where you'll do like 10, 15, 20% or a pump because everybody goes and buys it. But then it ends up typically turning around and going the opposite way. And so you're basically his friend's exit liquidity. And mind you, when I say his friends, because he was a legit real trader. Like he had his own hedge fund with Goldman Sachs, and he was really, really good at it. I mean, he is a genius of a man. He's not a knucklehead that he portrays himself. I mean, he's literally, graduated top of his class. Was it MIT is where he was at? He's, what I'm saying? He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. He understands human psychology. He understands a lot of stuff. So he gets how he can get people. He uses his his noises specifically to get you going. And so he's now pro, air quote, crypto. And so I feel like that idea of him being pro crypto is one of those things that potentially could be a signal for us to see a turnaround.
That it's gonna dump.
Yeah.
Why is it dumping? Cramer likes it.
Well, it's just his friends are now done with the position, and and he gets the fodder to go one direction, and we'll see it push up, and then maybe we'll get to that 40,000 area and then turn around. I hope I'm wrong. I do hope like maybe potentially we could see this thing keep continuing, right? Higher highs and higher lows, and it might be. Who knows? Maybe this is the one that he calls that he's serious now, right? Maybe he stopped playing around and he's calling things legit. Maybe.
Or he's gonna join BitBoy.
Dude, that'd be so funny, dude.
Man, I'm in a mood this
Oh my
morning, aren't
goodness.
I?
Yeah. Whew. Putting them fires out, putting the future fires out. Um, but like in the reality though, it's but the reality is we are seeing Bitcoin now starting to continue up. We're coming into our monthly supply area here between that um 37 and 40,000 area here. We do not really go down for
The
follow
cops are coming to get you this time.
yeah. I always, whenever I see a ambulance driving by, I'm like, Lord, somebody's worst day, be with them.
Man, they come by my house 5 times an hour. After a while, your compassion disappears because you're like, I can't give any more, man. I can't. I got a hospital down the street this way, and then a trauma center down this way, and so they're
All the time. Oh, absolutely, you're right. I didn't think about
After
that.
a while, you're. Side note, I got to interject a side note on a good topic, or not good topic. I used to live near a fire station here in Chicago, on Damon Avenue, and it was where we voted, it was our precinct voting place. So one of the things I disliked about the fire station is every morning at 6 a.m., and the ambulance went woo right by our window, and you're like, mother f, you know what? You're like, okay, ambulance got to go get someone, but 6 a.m. sirens, what the heck is going on? And it happened like clockwork. And so when we go vote, I said to one of the ambulance guys, one of the paramedics, I'm like, I got a question for you. He said, why do you guys go screaming out of here a couple times a week at 6 a.m.? And he said, the worst thing I ever heard in my life. And I'm going to share it with you. he said, mister, that's when old people get up and die. and I was like, he said at 6 a.m. old people get up early, especially there's a big area nearby with a bunch of retirement homes. He said they wake up, they put their feet on the side of the bed, they stand up, their blood pressure drops, and they're done. Oh, I've got the disclaimer up. You don't need your big one. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
I'll make it a little bigger. But I was like, oh man, now I need to know. Every morning at 6 a.m. it was like, oh, who died? Oh, great. So
Wow.
it's a question.
Dude,
one of those questions
so
you should never have asked. Right.
Oh my goodness, man. Oh, that just breaks my heart.
Yeah. That's when old people get up and die. And you're like, oh, why did I ask that question?
Oh. You know what? I'll put it like this, man. There's a guy, he's an older guy, and I see him every morning walking around. Like every morning, like I get up, go to the gym around 5:30, right? And he's walking down this hill. And I mean, he's up at 6. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's freezing cold, if it's sweltering hot. He is he is faithful. You know what I'm saying? He's up and he's walking around, he's putzing around. When I come back, I see him at the park just kicking things, and I sit there and I'm like, and like at first I thought he was kind of like not a homeless guy, but like kind of like, and then I was talking with somebody at the baker, and I said, that guy right there, who? He goes, oh, that's so and so. He owns the house up on so and so. His family is XYZ. He used to be the owner of XYZ. And I'm like, really? And then I realized, I was like, oh, he spent his whole entire life getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Time to
for
make the
business.
donuts.
Yeah, and whatever. And so he's like, he can't, he spent almost 50 plus years doing that. Like it just, his body wakes up. He can't help it. So he has to walk around. He goes around and he does his stuff, and he knows a lot of people, a lot of the old timers, and and this guy walks, I would say maybe 5 miles a day, and he's walking up hills. And I'm just like impressed. I'm just fully impressed with who and what he is. And you know what? If people did that, if older people did that, man, I think they wouldn't have that blood pressure issue.
Yeah, they know they gotta walk more. My girlfriend gets me to. My girlfriend, shit. Sorry.
Your wife.
Yeah, we got married in April. When I still make that mistake, and people think I'm talking about having a girlfriend and being married, so they're like, Mr. Herlihy, and I'm like, oh, you mean same person?
Miss Striking.
Yeah. Oops. She gets a
You know
little
she's
cranky.
watching this
Yeah,
too.
she gets a little cranky when that happens.
I would love to see her comment down here. She's like, "He's sleeping on the couch now." That's hilarious. It's couch time. That's hilarious. It's so good. Um, yeah, man, it's just interesting. Bitcoin, man, I'm kind of shocked that we are still at these points, but I'm almost doubling down on the turnaround here now that Kramer's out here and he's he's making his comments, and it's like, oh man, now I'm really like I'm almost positive now, like, yeah, this thing's going down, dude. Like full on. What's nice is Ethereum, and I'm actually really impressed with Ethereum. Ethereum is doing a nice little sell off, or it came back down. But again, a lot of these, I want to bring this up, is that we're not seeing any demand waves, right? Like, we're not. Bitcoin, we don't have a demand wick in this area here for this daily chart. And granted, this is, Black Friday, so not a lot of people are trading here
Right.
in the US, but it's still one of those things that, and I'm not seeing a lot of demand wicks, a lot of buyer wicks coming in, real substantial with a lot of volume. So for me, that's why I'm sitting there thinking it's going to turn around. Speaking of it, if we look at our friend Shiba Inu, Shiba Inu,
Shiba
it is
Shiba.
Shiba. Shiba Inu here is definitely ping-ponging off of these higher time frame SMAs here, which I've talked about. It is using where is it at the weekly? We are bouncing off of that 50 as well as that 8. You can see here until it picks a direction. Now, what's nice about here is we are seeing some demand wicks come in, as we are seeing some sell-offs here on the weekly. So it's pretty nice. These demand wicks are showing buyers that are looking to get the market. So again, potentially, we could see this market come back up to this 1,000-point mark here. The 4011-ish area here, where we have the 89 period moving average. If we do see it go down here, it's probably going to be tapping that the 5064 area here down in this demand wick. So
Yep.
this below here is the 506 or 599 area. Below here, this is the low of the low. So if I do see this here, I'm more or less seeing it potentially could be just stopping people out to push maybe back up. So but either way,
Sorry about that. We need to figure out a way to get your actual mouse cursor to be captured, because I can see the X move around on your screen, but I'm guessing after compression and stuff like that, it's difficult for people on a mobile device.
oh yeah. So if I move a little slower, you think it would
No,
work?
I just think we need to get it so it shows your actual mouse arrow. I think there's a way to do that on screen capture, to say show your mouse or something like that, or show mouse actions. Whatever. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No. Actually, I need to see if I how to figure that out. I'm actually looking at your screen right now on the YouTube, and it actually shows me the consensus. Oh wait, dude, see, this thing is doing that again. Why not? Sorry.
What are you?
Yeah, it's
Are you
showing that.
telling
It
us
has
it's a
nothing to
buy
do on that.
signal or a sell signal? What are you talking about?
No. Don't worry. I'm looking at the YouTube thing, and it's actually, for whatever reason, it like was chilling out way further than it was. I got confused, which is not that hard to do. So, so as you can see here, we're bouncing off of the 50 period moving out, which is that gray line, and as well as that purple line, which is sitting at that 792 area, until it picks a direction. We'll seeing some consolidation here until it decides it either wants to go up or go down. Potentially, the way I'm looking at this is, as we're moving down, we're seeing less buyers or less sellers step in, whereas when we were going up, we're seeing more buyers step in. So that's an indication to me that potentially it's most likely going to go up from here, and then potentially hit these higher time frame SMAs and then sell off again at these levels until we get through them, until the weekly moving averages are below price, where then you should see it rally up. So
What's the time frame on that chart?
This is the weekly. So right now we're in between weekly moving averages.
And what's the price level that it's at? It's just small on the screen.
Oh, price level is sitting right now at 50829, right? And right now, I'm pretty positive that we're going to go through the gray line, which is 50921, and then most likely see it go up to 50 or 4011.
All those moving averages seeming looks like they're coming towards a point over here somewhere.
Yes, absolutely.
Seems like they're all. What does that mean? Give us a
So
little TA education here.
So what this is, so my TA, because like I said yesterday, TA is not all the same, right?
Right.
There are some, like people read TA differently. So my style is these acts as resistant levels. So as price right now, you can see here that the 50 period moving average here on the weekly chart has been acting as resistance. Now you can see here that we have pierced this now a few times and most likely going to push up. The reason why is you can see as we're coming down here, we're putting in some pretty big wicks here. So these wicks are coming down and they're bigger than the supply wick that are above that candle. So to me, I look at this going, we should see this come down and then go up, because if you look at the volume down here, as we are moving up, we have more volume coming in.
Huh.
As we are coming down, right, less volume coming in with wicks, which means that the majority of this is buyer stepping in. It's kind of that. Now here's the daily candle, right? You can see here, right, that as we're moving up, right, as we're moving up here, majority of it is green candles. When it's going down, you have some bigger red candles, but the majority of these are green candles. If we want to go into the deeper, we'd then go look at the 8-hour and 4-hour. But it's really the 1 hours where we fully get down into the weeds of things.
Right.
But you can see here that as we're coming up, as we're moving up, we see a lot of green candles with higher stepping up into it, right? Now that we're selling off overall for the full week, even though there's a lot of red candles, if we look at the weekly chart here, you can see that we have more green coming in versus red leaving, right? Which means that there's probably more buyers. Now, if we were going to go into the details of this, we want to sit there and look at like the hourly chart. The hourly chart would give us really in detail what's actually going on. And again, this gets complicated because then I start going over buyers and sellers and start going over wicks on higher, smaller time frames in relationship to higher time frames like the 4 and 8-hour daily candle. So you want to correlate back and forth that's actually going on. So if I'm seeing a bunch of, as it's going down, and I see buyer wicks stepping in as we're coming down, right? To me, I'm sitting there going like, yeah, even though it's a red candle, the majority of these as it's going down, there are buyers stepping in, right?
Gotcha.
Like, look, buyer stepping in. You have to push it up, buyer stepping in. All right, we come down, and I bet you if we go into like the 30-minute candle of here, you can sit there and see, right? Like a lot of these, actually, there's this one, there's a lot of sellers coming in. But right here, even this high, let's go to the 15-minute. As you're coming down into these levels, we're seeing it push back up, right? So you can see there's definitely a bunch of red to take out the liquidity here that are sitting. So it takes that liquidity, which is sitting right in this level, and then we should, yeah. So it came down a little, and now it's starting to push back up. So there's a lot of moving parts here that you want to sit there and pay attention to. And that's how I look at the market. Like you start at a very nebulous standpoint of like a monthly chart. sit there and see there and go, how does this relate? Well, this relates because if you look at the market at large, you need to sit there and see how the higher time frame people are seeing it, right? They're institutions, when they're sitting there looking, and they, like originally I thought that there were no institutions trading these things, right?
Yep.
Until the original push here. I remember paying attention to Shiba here at this level in this, when was it? Was it 2021? I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was this push. When was the original? Yeah, this is when I believe it was, when it had this huge push. But this was actually, give me 1 second. Investing tools, and then investing.com. Shiba Inu, give me their charts. Market.
And once again, for those of you watching, please like, comment, follow, share, whatever. Just do it.
Just do it.
Start the conversation or jump into a conversation, whatever. Just do it.
Just come on in. And just, we plan on actually having potentially somebody from the these
Caspa?
guys here. Yeah, Caspa, potentially a Caspa guy on. We do need to do our due diligence on him, but potentially just have him talk about what's going on with this chart and why it's doing what it's doing. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to pull this up. Everybody always technical chart. Give me a technical chart. Come on. The reason why is I was looking at the time, because I really wasn't trading crypto at this time, and it was very interesting to me to see. I remember there was one day when the market was going sideways. It was just going down, or not going down, it was just going sideways, so there was no movement. And I was looking at the market. Oh man, they took it off right here. So boom, yeah, so this was the huge push. So one of these movements right in here, it was right before, I think it was this day here, back in 2021.
Your graph is low on the screen.
Oh, give me 1 second. Boom. It was during this time period where I want to say it was somewhere around here. I had a friend of mine who was telling me to look at crypto and check all this stuff out. And as I was looking at it, as I was looking at this, I think it was right in here. I think this is when it was.
When they sent Vitalik all that stuff? Or was it CZ?
Yeah.
I don't remember which one it was.
2021, 2023. No, it wasn't. It was further back. I almost feel like these charts have been moved. 2, 23, 21, 22. It doesn't seem right.
Well, remember, it depends on when. I don't know where you're pulling that from. Is it? But they may have only started tracking at a certain time and may not go back to its launch.
No, because I was looking at Shiba Inu on investing.com. This is where it was Shiba Inu. It was actually Dogecoin that I went through investing.com and found Dogecoin. Where like they had like 8,000, 10,000 coins. And I literally just I started at the top and just started going all the way down. And then I about like maybe after looking at about 1,000 of them, I went all the way down and started going up. Because I started noticing like it was when they were really small that they really, and the way investing.com did is they had started from a very small coin. Like I noticed like they start from market cap. So I went through to the lowest market caps and I started going through and looking at them, and I stumbled onto Doge because I was like, somebody's buying this. I went down to the very bottom market cap ones, and I just started going through, just boom. Just I'd look at it real quick. Boom. If it was worthy, is anybody buying this? No, nobody's buying this. Nobody's buying this. Looking at like the hour chart. Boom. Nobody's buying. Nobody buying. Nobody buying. And when I stumbled onto Dogecoin back in this period in 2021, I said to myself, oh shoot, somebody's buying this. Somebody big. Because it was every 2 weeks to a month, somebody was buying. And I sat there and I was like, and I called my friend up who got me into, because I was teaching him how to trade. And I said to him, I said, how do I buy this coin here? He goes, why? And I go, somebody's buying this coin. He goes, dude, it's a crap coin. And I go, I don't care. Somebody's buying this coin. And and this thing's like, I went through and I told him, and he goes, all right. So he looks into it. He goes, dude, it was made as a joke. It's not even a real thing. And I go, how do we get into it? I don't know. And he goes, I don't know. So he went and he did research on it, trying to figure it out. He goes, dude, it's on this exchange that is like nothing. Like, and I forget the exchange it was, but now it's a big, I want to say it was, like, I think we had to use, Coin Gecko or something like that to go.
Right.
I think that's how we found it, right? And I was like, how do we do that? He goes, honestly, man, like you're gonna have to get a VPN and you're gonna have to buy this. And you're gonna have to, basically everything. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that. And I go, well, how do we get into like from like a normal way? He goes, you can't. Like you literally can't. And he goes, it's probably, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I need to get some sound effects, and every time King Kaching comes on, I have a cash register sound. Kaching! Old school cash register. Good morning, everybody. King Kaching says, good morning, King.
Good morning, brother.
Thanks for joining in. Sorry to interrupt you, Pedro.
No, it's all right. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at that, and finally I just let it go. But I kept going, like my spirit, man, it was constantly saying, hey, brother, you need to get into that coin. You need to get into that coin. You need to get into that coin. And so I kept going back and looking at it. And I was like, how do I get into this? I'd always reach out. How do we do this? How do I do this? Right. And he goes, I don't know. So I just left it alone. I said, but I would always go back, and I kept seeing it take zeros off. And at that time, I didn't get what it meant by it taking zeros. But I discovered it when it was like 5 zeros, 6 zeros. Because I saw somebody was in there. This is why I say Elon Musk. I think it was Elon Musk. Because why would he pick Dogecoin of all coins? And somebody was buying it all the way back then. And I'm talking like buying like $100,000, $200,000 into this small little coin. And then people would sell off their bag and he would go back and buy it. And every time I hit a certain point, there was literally somebody buying at that on that point. Right. And then it finally exploded. Well, it didn't explode, but I think it took off like 2 zeros one day, or maybe it was 1 0. And then it would come back down. And then, obviously we know, then Elon Musk comes in and he says, hey, Doge to the moon. And it just exploded, within, it went from here to here in like 3 days, 4 days, right? That's where I forget the story of what's his name. He was a mailman who at the time he was being a mailman, and I think it was Crypto Messiah is his name.
Mailman.
Yeah, he was a mailman before. He was a mailman, and he would sit there and he would buy crypto on his phone.
That's awesome.
Right? And like he's sitting there going about his day, and then one day he sits there and he looks down at his phone, and he's literally worth like $30 million. And at first he's like, what? Is this a mess up, right? And he pulls it up again, and sure enough, it's $30 million. So he's like, cash out, right? Like he was worth a crazy amount of money. And I think Dogecoin had hit like 40 cents, 40 or 50 cents at that mark. And then he got out. But he had bought when it was, and just forgot about it.
Right.
And then, which a lot of us, like you buy these small little crap coins, right? And then you have like 50 million coins. 100 million coins, and you're like, yeah, whatever, right? It's literally less than, 5 0 cents. But all of a sudden,
I don't know if you noticed, but I I put Zach.
over.
Zach is live right now. I put him over here on the in the corner of the screen, and he's doing a whole live stream about Caspa right now.
Oh snaps! Yeah, well we're
And
gonna.
it's it's booming.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna lock him down for us. That's really good. That's actually really, really good. It's actually really good. Yeah, the guy's legit. Like it's pretty legit. We'll see what's up. We'll see what's up. That's actually really cool that they're talking about that. Give me 1 second. But I want to just bring this up here that these coins can extreme. So the reason I bring this up is I was over here looking at, and this is when I realized that institutions were trading this. I want to say it was this day right here. We went below. Yeah, it was this day. I said, here is the supply, here is the demand area. And I said to myself, I said, if this thing, here's the low, if this thing goes below this low here, and I see a giant hammer that comes in, I know institutions are trading this. Like legit institutions are trading it. And that's exactly what happened. We were coming down into this level, and I remember I was trading, and the S&P 500 was going sideways. And I was sitting there going like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
So this popped in my thing, and it showed that it was moving. I remember it popped up on my screen with investing.com. Shiba Inu sold off this, 400% or something like that. And I was like, holy crap. Right. And so I clicked on it, and I saw this coming in, and I said, if it goes below here, we should see this. And so I sat there, and I was like, huh. And it was actually a friend of mine who told me to check them out. Another friend of mine who was into crypto and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, whatever, I'll do it. And so it was one of those things that it went from here, like, within shortly after, it did its crazy, what it did here. And then it dropped all the way down to here. And like at this moment in time, I finally start to get into crypto. Right. And I'm like, all right, well, dude, this stuff is crazy. Like, this is nuts. I basically put in a couple bucks, and, and I made like a couple hundred. I didn't even make a couple hundred. I just watched it. Right. I was like, all right, look, I put in like $3 here, and this thing is now at, $30, $40. And I was like, that's really impressive. Like really impressive. So I sat there and I was like, all right, I need to pay attention to this type of stuff. This is legit. Like, this is real. Like, people were, I had friends of mine talking about Shiba Inu going, I'm rich. And I was like, sell it, dude. Like sell that.
Dump
dude.
it.
Like this ain't real. Like, this is gonna come down. Like, I'm telling you that this is nuts. And they didn't listen to me. Right. But either way, I sit there and I say this right here. That's what we're looking at right here. Is that I'm looking for it. If it does come below this low again, you can see every time it hits this low here on a daily chart, you can see that we shoot up. So somebody is buying here at these lows. I don't know who it is, but somebody is. So it's something that I sit there and I'm like, all right, well,
Elon.
Elon. I don't know if it's Elon, man. I mean, I don't know who it is. I mean, dude, it could be the DOJ, man. It could be the Fed. I mean, the reality is this, is somebody with big pockets are buying. And the way this acted was very much like an institutional buy. It was absolutely like an institutional buy. Somebody was trading this, and the way it moved with the demand wicks coming in, I said, yep, that's institution. Like, you can't hide their footprints. Like, when they get in, the way they trade is it is like a thumb, what do you call that? A thumbprint or your
Right.
fingerprints. They trade a certain way, and it's just very clear, right? And so I was like impressed. So all that to sit there and say, let's go ahead and jump back to Shiba Inu on here. As you can see here, that we are bouncing off of that 8-period moving average. You can see here that this is what's holding, but we keep piercing this on the monthly. Okay. And down at these levels, we are putting in demand wicks. So somebody's trying to build up a position, and you can see here on that weekly and monthly level, the last 2 months, that they're trying to build their position. They're trying to build that position so that they can actually go through. And then when the bull market comes, most likely, if this does continue, as we all know within crypto, it's probably going to go for once it gets above here at these other levels, we'll probably see it take off another X, or not another X, another zero, right? So we should see it get to maybe a cent potentially, right? Or maybe not even a cent potentially, because they are burning a lot of these coins here.
They got to burn a
Right?
lot of it, though, man.
Yeah,
They got
I
to
don't
burn.
disagree.
They got to burn a lot of it. And
But I
as
mean,
soon as it goes up, there's a lot of people that got in down here. I don't think it can. I mean, I think from a outsider looking in on SHIB,
yeah,
it's going to take a lot of money, and there's a lot of people that DCA'd all the way down here, and they've stuck it out. And when people stick it out for a long time, they want their money, man. They want their money, and so I don't think it has that boom left in it, because I think people are going to unload it once they get into profits. There, so many wallets are underwater in SHIB, and when they DCA'd down right down in here somewhere. A lot of people bought down in here. And once it starts get backing up here, people will be like, ding, 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 sell, give me my money. I'm going to put it in something else. Dak's still talking about Kaz over here. Speaking of, I'm going to go, as they say, refresh the tea and empty something else out. But what's going on with Bitcoin? Is it pumping this morning again?
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying, is that, typically with, give me 1 second. I'm actually talking to Dr. Martin here. 1 second. Our show starts around 10 Eastern Standard Time. Is that a good?
It's like a thin Friday. Not a lot of sellers out there, so a couple of buyers are pushing Bitcoin up. I think it's at 38,000 again now. I don't have the chart up in front of me. Oh wait, I have it on my footer here. Not that one. Do. Oh, I don't have it on my footer. I have it over here. Bitcoin is currently at 38.2. 38.2, and it has pumped since we've come on the air, so it's obviously up because of us, right?
with our five viewers.
Yeah, yes.
You know what? Here's the thing, though, and I've heard this, and I've seen this, and heard this enough times in crypto, right? Like, and where you don't know who's watching.
You never do.
Yeah. So like you hear about that guy who Oprah Winfrey he had 5 viewers every day who would watch him. 5 viewers, right? And he didn't know. He knew one, and his wife was one. And then the other one, he just figured, okay, people are watching, right? Like just the random algorithm within Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, with YouTube. And one of the ones was Oprah Winfrey. Yeah. Like she was sitting there, she was watching because the guy's content was good, and he was legit, and he was so engaging and extremely just passionate what he did, and the quality of information in which he was giving was bar none the best. And so she's like, you know what? I want to take a chance on this guy. So she had her HR person reach out to him, and the public relationship person reach out to him and say, hey, look, Oprah Winfrey likes you. She's been watching you. He's like, at first he said, yeah, right, get out of here, because there's so many scams, right? And then like at first, but then in the back of his head, he's like, let's see. And so he reaches back out to her and he was like, so what's up? And I think it was on LinkedIn. I forget where they reached out to him, but they reached out to him and realized it was real, right? And it was like, holy moly. So that does, I mean, if you got great content and it's real, right? And like, i.e. my TA, you've seen me call my TA multiple times, right?
Right.
Like, okay, the market's going to go up and down, go up and down here, and then we should see it rally back up and then sell off from here, right? And we've seen that enough times to where it's like, and I'm not blowing my own horn. I mean, you guys can go back and watch my TA. Like it's videotape, and I'm definitely not 100%. I'm not sitting there claiming, but it's good enough where you can play. I've had guys literally make, one of the kids, I think
Well, if you're right all the
during
time, you wouldn't be on this show. That's for sure.
that's for sure. That
Be
is
sitting
for
back
sure.
eating drumsticks of turkey every day. Oh,
Over in San Diego, baby. Shoot. Me and Santa, what am I calling it? Santeria? No, not Santeria. Santeria. Yeah, that's what it is. Santeria.
Santorini.
Santorini. Yeah. Santeria is
You're thinking
it's where
that song from I ain't got no Santeria. Ain't
ain't
got
no
no
crystal
crystal
ball
ball.
at the bar. Dun, dun,
Copyright
dun,
strike.
dun, dun. Oh, I know. Shoot, we can't. Ah, no, man. Dude,
If it
I
catches
grew
that,
with
then I give up.
Sublime.
I give up if it
Dude,
catches that.
I fell in love with Sublime when I was on the Polar Star going down to Antarctica. And there was this um, McIntyre. Was it McIntyre? No, was it Joey? His name was Joey McNeil. Was the E5. Used to bust my chops, bro. Oh my goodness, this dude used to just rip on me. But man, he would blare Sublime in the morning while we'd be doing mess cooking, man. It'd be so cold down in Antarctica. Times. You just got me. I just went back to a period in time of my life. I was like, it was good. It was the worst. It was the best of times and the worst of times. But anyways, all that to sit there and say, where were we at? Right here, Bitcoin and move up, but with no real demand. So if we go down into our 5-minute, you'll see here again that the push up isn't really being supported by look here. There's not a lot of demand wicks here, right? You can see here this was the market open, right? Or is this no, this is what time is it here? Los Angeles. Let's go to, for most people they know as New York. So this was right here, the 10 o'clock, 10:30. So 9:30 open was here. 9:30, where are you at? 9:30. So we started seeing push up here. So we see them pushing up here. They came down. They created a racetrack down here. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. So this is getting ready to turn around at least down to probably about yesterday's lows. Is where we're going to see this come back down to. It's at
Gotcha.
36.8-ish area. We're already seeing a turnaround and we're starting to put in supply wicks, as you can see as we're coming down. You see how there's these the seller wicks kicking in. You see that as we're coming down. It's on that time frame, so we should see this baby at least come down to these levels here, as I'm saying, literally as I'm saying it.
Yeah, right, literally.
Yeah.
Put it.
Yeah.
You got the 1 second chart there.
No, I don't want to do this once. Yeah, 1 second
Just-
chart for me is
No, it's just for entertainment purposes. That
all right.
the 1 second chart.
1 second. There we go. Boom. There we are. Yeah, you can't. It's like disjointed. You could.
Oh
see
yeah,
these
it'll
exact-
break your heart
Yeah.
if you. One of the worst
Yeah.
things ever in the history of the earth was watching the 1 second chart and having a position in futures. It just, your heart is up and down. You're like, I'm rich, I'm poor, I'm rich, I'm poor, I'm rich, I'm poor. It's and you panic sell. You panic sell so fast. You're like, I'm out. Oh, thank God I'm out. And then you like a
And then
couple
it goes
hours.
your way.
Yeah, and then a couple hours later you go back and put it on the 15-minute chart and it's nothing but greens, man. It's just smooth green all day and you're like, my panic sold.
Yeah, well, that's why. Like, so this is why I was talking about, right? Like, we want to pay attention to the monthly, the weekly, the daily, and you sometimes see me go to that 8-hour mark here, right?
All right, I'm going to refresh the tea here. I'll be right back.
That's right. The reason why I do that is so the market transfers from different time frames. If you're too focused on one time frame, you lose the higher time frame movement, and it's the higher time frame movement in which actually gives you the sentiment of the market. And so what they do is you want to look at, so one of the people I would encourage you to check out, his name is ICT. I don't follow everything that ICT talks about, but one things I really learned a lot about was what he talked about with liquidity pools, right, on a daily chart. And in that same sense, it's they look, institutions need orders. Like, institutions are starved for orders, so they are always looking to get orders. Okay. And so the technical analysis is the study of emotions of grabbing orders. That's the best way to be able to explain it. Now, there are a few ways to be able to read how those orders are being grabbed. Actually, there's more than a few ways. There's probably a couple hundred. I have my own style, as everybody knows. Okay. But one of the biggest keys is I'm always looking to see where are the orders sitting at and where would they look to get them. And so with that, I'm always trying to gauge, all right, the market just did this, the market did that. What briefly would it most likely do? Right. And so for us, that's what we're looking at. And then I do like, and I hate this, right, when I say this, but that's why I always say I expect some bad news around this area here, right? It's because institutions, and again, this isn't conspiracy theory. I know this sounds like it's conspiracy theory, but I've seen it. I've been in this market for 20 plus years, people. I mean, like about 20 plus years. Okay. And I remember starting to pay attention to the market in 2008, or excuse me, not 2008. And I started investing, literally investing in 2001, right? Opened up my first mutual fund. And I started paying attention to charts then, when I was 20 years old, 21 years old, right? And now I'm in my 40s. So speaking of the Polar Star, I used to sit there and go into the computer room in the Polar Star and literally look at the computers there and look at the charts going, there's got to be a language here. Like because there's something here that I can see that I can't put my finger on, but there's something here. And I would be looking at a mutual fund chart of like, and I remember asking my, who's a great man. I love the man. He's such a great man. His name is Tom Elrod. He was my financial advisor. Absolutely loved him. He was like an awesome older brother that that I had. Because remember, I was like a foster kid, right? And so he helped me. He's like, Pedro, look, the smartest people in the world have a hard time with this. You're gonna have a hard time with it. Give me 1 second, okay? I actually have to do something. Tom, you there? Nope. Forgive me 1 second. Hey, Mike, let me call you back in a minute. I'm actually on a show and I wanted to talk real quick. Is that cool if I call you in about 20 minutes, 30 minutes? All right, talk to you soon. Bye. Sorry about that. It was just there was a call that I needed. I had kind of been waiting for. So, um, but in the same relationship, as I sat there and I watched the market kind of unfold, right? And at that time, technical analysis was not necessarily a thing, right? It was very fundamentally based. But it was after 2003 when the market bottomed out from the 2000 from the dot-com bubble that it really started working, and you started seeing a lot of stuff actually. And now it's very much looked at as not a science, but something to be able to, you need to pay attention to TA. And so I kind of was in the forecast of it. And so all that to sit there and say is this, that my style is I'm always looking to see where institutions are thumbprinting. And so part of that is looking at liquidity pools that ICT talks about. So when I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this market, you can see we just went above these areas here where we've had this area. So there's stops here that the market is coming and taking, right? So all these people were either long or short. Okay. And so you want to look at it like this. There's a bunch of people who were short here. Okay. So a bunch of longs here above here, because when you stop those shorts out, you have to buy back your shorts. Well, all those buys, the institutions want to take the other side because a lot of the market has now been a lot of buys have come into the market, and because institutions are always starved for orders, they're going to take the other side of that short position or that long position that just came in. And so they stop everybody else out, i.e. what Tom was just talking about. Oh, it's going long. Get out, get out, get out, right? And so they stop them out and then drop it to go back up or to go down. Now, I think here they're taking these shorts to drop the market based off of what Kramer's saying, that he's bullish, right? And I'm seeing that because we're not putting in a lot of demand wicks. I keep talking about those buyer wicks, right? We're not putting a lot of buyer wicks as we're moving up, right? We're seeing push-ups in the market, but we're not seeing a defense. A defense is when the market goes down, then goes up, meaning it first was red. Okay, so this candle needed, let me see if I can see a defense. Here we are, right here at the bottom of this market. We're going down. You can see right here then is this market defended this movement, right? We came down and it's at a turning point where it's, again, the low of the day, which the previous day, okay, which is right here. We go below it, but not above the other previous day. And then this thing defends its position and goes green. So now it should go up into at least this level. And there's more TA that I could bring up that's just, it would confuse you. I mean, literally. So I'm trying to make this very simple for you guys. So you can sit there and you can see how we started to move up, consolidate after expansion up, consolidate, and now it continued. But most likely it was going to go down because they're not defending up here. So we're at least going to come down to this area here where there was defense because there's buyers sitting there. All right, let's see what happens. Boom. All right, we continue up. So that's just what happened. But that's why I sit there and I say it will most likely do a certain thing. That's it in a nutshell. Sorry about that, Tom. I just totally went into just a diatribe of I can't hear you, buddy.
Usually I keep the kettle warm over in the kitchen there so I can refresh the tea quickly, but I didn't this time. And it's the damnedest loud boiler you've ever heard in your life. And so I was like, I put your talk on the overhead speakers here in the Global Media DYOR headquarters here. I was listening to you, and I while I was making the tea in the hot water, and I heard you take that call. I was like, I got to get back, and I was too late.
Yeah, no, it's okay. And I apologize about me having to take that call. It was just...
That's all right.
It was real quick, yeah.
On these long rambling streams, different rules here.
Yeah. Normally, we're much more... I don't want to say professional. We're a bunch of knucklehead guys who know a lot about a lot of things, and we like talking about it.
You know what's interesting is that the little Bitcoin. What time frame you got up there for BTC?
Oh, this is 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm watching. I got Zach on over here, talking about Cast, and its chart. It seems to be tracking BTC here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not directly, but it's close. Like BTC when we were talking earlier, BTC was pumping, Cast was pumping. All of a sudden, BTC starts taking a little dumpo here, and Cast follows it. And totally unrelated projects, not even related in any way whatsoever to, and it's linked.
Yeah, well, look at it like the S&P 500, right? And a typical stock, like once, because it's BTC is the Papa, where Papa goes, the rest of the family goes, right? And so you want to look at it like that. Go ahead.
Hold on, I'm wondering. Yeah, Zach's live because he mentioned me after I posted. I saw my post, but his Caspa chart is different than yours. He's looking at a CAS USDT pair. What are you looking at?
This is just straight up CAS ETH.
Oh, CAS ETH. Okay, so it's different.
Yeah, it's all good. I could actually just go here real quick. CAS. There we are.
There you go. You just had.
Actually, I'll put CAS in my Rolodex here. So.
easy to get to.
Oh, really? Yeah, let me make it easier. There we are.
That's why it's tracking BTC, because it's versus the USDT. Does that mean the dollar is changing right now at all? Is there a plunge on the dollar or something like that?
It depends. So it could be a couple things,
Or
right?
pump in the
I
dollar?
don't. Yeah. Well, let me put it like this. So right now, this is Thanksgiving weekend, so there's not a lot of volume. Like there's just if we look at the volume aspect of anything on a daily, like it's just most of the time you don't have no people. A lot of the money comes from America, right? Like, look, the last 2 days,
Right.
Caspa literally had nothing coming in because it's what's the holiday weekend, right? And so this week, typically trading just dies. And if you look at the S&P 500, same thing, right? Like, it's just nothing. So I kind of discount this week, right? Like next week, they're going to trade over this week, meaning they will take the lows and the highs and of this week, meaning they'll drop it down below the lows of this week, currently right now, next week, and then either shoot it up or shoot it down. So that's typically what happens within the market over the holiday weekends. Like when you look at Christmas, right? Christmas weekend, right? It's been a few times where it hasn't, but the majority of the time that is what it does. Where is it? Let's check out the dollar, the Dixie here. The Dixie is dumping here. So
That's why. I was wondering why.
Yep. So, and then, so let's check out what the 30-year is doing. ZB.
See, I'm learning a little bit of this market correlation stuff.
And here's the thing. Again, just like I talk about timing, right? Like it correlates and then it doesn't. It's important to understand because it's seasonal. It's also technical, right? And also where are the buyers? Where can the institutions get buyers and receive alpha for their movement, right?
Right.
So they'll remove liquidity from one instrument to another instrument, right? To get liquidity above here. So let's say there's a ton of liquidity on the 30-year here, right? And so you can see that the market would sit there and go, all right, there's a lot. We've been moving up here. There's liquidity underneath this market right here. So they'll sell off a position from another instrument to drop into here, to drop this down, to take that liquidity here, then to make a profit from here up to gauge this. And then they bring the fodder in, or the novices, to quote Online Trading Academy, or however you guys talking about, right? The people who aren't traders,
Right.
And then they'll take them out, and they'll get them to push this market up to hit the 100-day period moving average here, then to drop it and come back down to these lower levels again to test this.
Just hold on. I think I missed which chart you're looking at. Is that a bond?
This is the 30-year.
The 30-year bond. Okay. 30-year T-bond.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they'll take profit from the S&P 500. Right. So let's say they come here, they drop it, right? They take profit here, or they go short here, and then they drop it here. And then they take part of that money and distribute it to another asset, which they can make profit off of. Right. And then they take liquidity. So they're going from liquidity pool to liquidity pool. They're going from order bunch to order bunch to take orders. So when you get stopped out, right, they're taking orders because you don't understand where liquidity is sitting. You're part of that liquidity. Like you're part of the gazelle sitting around the pool lake, or the pool or the pond, the drinking pond in in Africa. I'm like, you got to go there, right? Like,
right. It's right. If you're a gazelle, you got the water's there, but so are the lions and tigers.
Exactly. And so that's what it is. So if you understand that, right, where's the liquidity sitting, right? And so they'll take you out, then they take it in the opposite direction, right? They take your stop, and then they go in the direction that you thought you were going to go. So it's really important to understand how the institutions work. Like, remember I was talking about Shiba Inu, right? Shiba Inu.
You're going at it. You're just filling that algorithm up, aren't you?
Well, it's not even like here. Like, we'll talk about this here. I knew that institutions were trading this because here is where, this is where, come on. Shoot. Oh, I got everybody hitting me up right now. Hey, Tom, take it for 1 second and I'll go into this.
All right, I'm going to talk a few minutes about our sponsors here. Let's hit the talk about. Oh, look, there I am. Not anymore. Let's hit the talk about our sponsors here. I can't go a whole show, but sometimes I do, without talking about two groups that are important to our channel. And one is our sponsor, our presenting partner of DYOR original programming, Audit Chain. And Audit Chain is all about writing the world of financial reporting. And of course, below me here is the logo for Camuso CPA. Patrick Camuso runs a U.S.-based crypto accounting firm, and he focuses on that and is able to get you to file your taxes correctly, not just for this year, but to go back from when kind of you got into crypto and rebuild your positions from a tax point of view, and refile things you may have incorrectly filed in the past. And so I encourage you, there's links down below for both. If you are having trouble with your crypto accounting / taxes, Patrick Camuso is the guy to talk to. He is one of those people, we have those little things saying up here saying this is not financial advice or tax advice. He is one of those guys that says this is tax advice and this is financial advice regarding that. And of course, as I always like to say, for Audit Chain, instead of me sitting up here blathering about it, why don't you listen to me blather about it right now?
Most of you know that crypto exchanges have been taking a beating about transparency, and many groups out there are trying to solve that. But Audit Chain has already done that. Audit Chain's protocols and network of validators can mathematically prove that a company's entire financial state, not just proof of reserves, but a proof of state, and whether or not that company is providing accurate reporting and information to the respective government regulators and to the public. Seriously, you and I can check crypto companies and traditional companies' financial reports for transparency and accuracy using a logic and reasoning engine called Pacioli that records its output where? On the blockchain. Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, blockchain technology is now able to be used to check on traditional companies. Behind me is a list of companies that comprise the S&P 500, S&P 100. In essence, the largest U.S. companies by size. More than one quarter, 29 out of 100, have problems with their reports. Remember, accounting and other corporate systems are garbage in and garbage out. So if there are problems with the data out for these companies, in red here, what does that mean? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. There are problems with the data going in. And this was figured out not by accounting or auditing firms and fleets of consultants. This was compiled and reported on by Audit Chain's Pacioli validating nodes and took only 5 minutes. It's revolutionary and it's a disruptor technology. Audit Chain.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to a few messages there, or a message about Audit Chain. Remember, you can hit auditchain.finance. On their website is more information about what they do with their Pacioli validating nodes. And also there are links to their social medias and their Telegram room. Ladies and gentlemen, Audit Chain, thank you very much. Pedro, what's happening with the markets after that quick break?
All right, so real quick, so we can just go over this last little part, because I know this was a bit of a diatribe of me talking about TA. But you can see right here with Shiba Inu, Shiba Inu, is that it came down. We see that there was a pocket of literally your people stops were right here. You can see they're being created, right? Their stops sitting right here. So when this came down, all the stops were hit. So, like, personally for me, I sat down and I said, look, we just created a new higher high right here. Okay. If they come through and take out these these buyers right here, they're loading up to create a new higher high. And that's exactly what they did. They stopped these buyers that were sitting right here. And then if you go to the smaller time frames where this actually won't let me get to, go back 2 years on a 5-minute, you'll see something. Let's see if it gives me an hour. If I can go to an hour back here. Boom, market. Boom. And because it was something, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And is there a way? Oh, we can go to here. There we go. It's going to be 2021. So I think it was July of 2021. And we'll just make a day 9 here. We'll go to that. All right, here. There we go. So you can see right here, this is what I'm talking about. They were establishing orders at these levels in which you can sit there and see, like as we're coming down, there are a lot of demand wicks coming in here. And so they were coming through these areas right here to create, come on, why is this holding? Let's see if this will let me go through here. Nope, it won't let me. All that to basically say is I was looking for something that looked like this right here, but below this line here, but it sits perfect right here. Something that looks like this, where we're coming down, and as we're coming down, we're putting in demand wicks, and then we put something like this as we moved up, and that's exactly what happened at this level right here. And when that happened, I sat there and said, oh, they just stopped everybody else out. They're going in, i.e. this is a great example. Look right here. See how this was the low of this previous day here? Look, we came down, we stopped all of those people out with this candle. They shot it back up, and then look, they continued higher, right? Boom. Or I think, yeah, boom. They came down, came out a little bit lower, and then shot it up. But you can sit there and see how they typically do that. So it's one of those things, and you would see the same similar movement here. Look, shoot down. You can see they're putting in demand wicks here. Look, they drop it, they bring it back up. They don't go, they try to stop people out here again because they did. Look, they stopped them out. They went right below, and look, they shoot it back up. So it's what they do. They look for orders. They're always looking for orders to put their clients in. So that's in a nutshell.
Right.
And I just went on a crazy tantrum there. But it's to me, I sit there and I just go, oh, that makes so much sense. Like for me, I hope that made sense for everybody else. Give me a thumbs up if you guys like it. If you guys enjoy that little just craziness that I was talking about there. If not, I understand. And I'm trying to get better at just simply explaining this to everybody. Right? Like that's really important to me, right? To be able to explain this stuff to you guys in a fashion that is simple. And that's why I got rid of a lot of my lines there, right? So that you guys can understand, because I was confusing more people than actually helping them out. And so my goal is to make things a little easier for you guys.
Well, hopefully you are, Pedro. Hopefully you are. Making it easier for me every time. I learn something new here. watching your TA, whether I'm in the foreground here or hiding out in the background with my new disappearing button.
I was looking at that. I was sitting there going like, where's he at? That's cool, man. Like, it's actually really, really, really cool.
Yeah. Ka-ching. King Ka-ching gives you a thumbs up there.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Hopefully it's helping you guys out, right? So that you don't become the fodder. I don't want you guys to become the people who are listening to me. I don't want you to be the fodder. I want you guys to be able to say, oh, see, this is what they're doing. Oh, look, right? And even if it's just to keep you from getting stopped out and getting some money, because you can sit there and see, oh, they're turning it around here. Look at all those seller wicks coming in as they're pushing it up. oh shoot, let's go ahead and take profit here, and most likely they're going to come back down or go back up and go against me, right?
Right.
And so that's important for me, for you guys, to not to be a part of just getting kicked in the face. I don't want you guys to get kicked in the face. You know?
Well, we're streaming on YouTube today, LinkedIn, Vimeo, Kick, and Twitch, and each one has its own little group. But I'll say the same thing to all of you. If you got something you want Pedro and I to take a look at, want a news article to talk about, or simply talk some Black Friday smack, as the headline for today's show was crypto sales 85% off everything on CMC. So obviously I put a disclaimer in that saying that that's not actually the truth. But if you want discounted stuff, it's Black Friday. Head out early, get in line, get your 85% off BTC, get your 65% off Solana. It's a good day.
That's awesome.
But here's the hitch though. Most of these things are 50% off from their all-time highs. That was good, huh?
That was good. I like it.
Right.
I like it. You know what? I'll put it like this. I mean, if you look at Twitter right now, right? Like, it's definitely at a discount. Like, and honestly, like, I sit there, I look at this, or Tesla, right? Like, oh wait, is this still? Wait, I don't think Twitter. Yeah, Twitter's. Yeah, I was gonna say Twitter is no longer. You need to look at Tesla. What was I thinking?
Kaching says at participating exchanges only. For a list of participating exchanges, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to PO Box 1234, zip code 10003, New York, New York.
New York, New York. Well, First Ave, Fifth and Saks. Man, it's so crazy, man. When you think, I was looking over at Amazon, right? And so I was listening to one of my favorite guys, but he was sitting there ranting about how, the elites are selling off a huge portfolio portions of their stock, right, to cash in on potential turnarounds in the market. So I sat there and I was seeing, well, if that's really good, let me go check things out. So I was looking at like Jeff Bezos, and I was sitting there watching, how much he's, so over the last 20 years, he's every year sold off part of his stock, right, to fund him. Like literally every year, he does like maybe 3 times a year, 3-4
Right.
times a year. But this past year, last 2 years, man, he's done equivalent to almost $20 billion selling off the amount of, and I'm like, $20 billion,
Pocket
bro.
change.
Like, I was like sitting there going like, and it's his money, bro, and it's like 1% of the and obviously he has to file this through the SEC.
Right.
He can't just sit there and like just sell it without anybody knowing, right? So it's everybody knows what's going on. He's not like sitting there doing this, and he's done it every year. But I said to myself, like, Elon Musk he's so bullish on his stuff, bro. Like I don't ever hear about really him selling off major portions of Tesla. Like he does. Like I'll put it up here. Like what have
Yeah, he sells $1 billion here and $1 billion there. Like SpaceX needed some money, so he sold a little bit. But I wouldn't be surprised if when their stock was low, he didn't buy some back. If you can see all his transactions on Edgar. I mean, I'm sure you can. It's not an issue.
Yeah, but I just find it cool. I mean, in that same sense, like they get to make their own printing press in a sense, right? It's like this is crazy, dude. Like, yeah, let me sell off $20 billion, $15 billion here. Right? Like it's nuts for me. It's absolutely nuts for me to sit there and just gauge like, yeah, we need some extra cash. Let's go ahead and sell off, 1%, and and we need this for this, right? Like it's just crazy for me. Like to sit there, at least for me, it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. I'm the guy's worth it was $100 plus billion, and he makes maybe 2%, 1% off of that every year, and that's the 1.3, 1.5 billion dollars. You know what I'm saying? Like that's it's $100 plus million. That's $150 million a month that comes into him. Like, look at this, 25 million a week, yo.
I remember the highest salary I ever made, which was not a high salary because I'm an entrepreneur, so I pay myself only when needed. But I worked for this company, and I had an okay salary, and it was, I was much younger when I worked for this company, but I had a good salary, especially for the time. And I looked at my bank account like every month and every 2 weeks, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And that was, you could subtract all the zeros off of that one you're just talking about, Elon, and some more stuff. And it's not even sort of close to even registering in the same world. And I was happy. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I can buy a car now. I can buy some new clothes and decorate my apartment, maybe save for a house. This is amazing. Elon's like, oh, well, I can buy 16 mansions in Malibu. I can, this month, and then next month I can repeat it and do it again. And or I can start another multi-billion-dollar company with this as the seed capital. It's just amazing.
Oh, he makes 432 million per day, when he was at a peak of $273 billion. That's just, I don't think that's legit. That actually doesn't seem right to me. But either way, I'm just trying to see how much he typically lives off of. Because a lot of these guys, they're, once you're at a point where you're making like, $200,000, $300,000 a day, like, I'm not, excuse me, not,
that's a great problem to have.
Yeah, I'm talking $10,000 a day. You know what I'm saying? Like $10,000 a day is like at a point where the money is just like, you can only buy so many, really nice houses, or you're just like, yeah, I just need one house. Like he's a human being. He just needs one house. Needs one, puts his pants on. He obviously has really nice, soft, and great clothing, right? Pretty positive. He eats extremely well, right? But there's only a certain point where his lifestyle maybe costs him maybe $5,000 a day.
Yeah,
maybe.
Unless he runs his jet, then it's more expensive that day.
Yeah, but like he spends the majority of his time down in like Texas with the
SpaceX, Boca Chica.
Yeah. Maybe he goes on a really, really nice date with his wife, or not his wife, his girlfriend, or he takes all his kids out, right?
Yeah, his 11 kids. Yeah. But this is our solution here, Pedro, right here. Powerball.
Oh,
where'd it go? Yeah, Powerball. 340 million. Mega Millions. 308 million. Someone's got to win it.
What state is that for you?
Powerball's nationwide, and both Powerball and Mega Millions are nationwide.
This is nuts, bro.
Every day plays one of them is playing every day except Sunday. And maybe Thursday. Maybe no game Thursday.
That's just nuts, dude. Like,
yeah, Mega Millions tonight, Powerball tomorrow night.
So the Mega Millions is the 340? No.
That's the Powerball 340 million.
Where did they get this money at? Where did they get that money at?
Schlumps like us putting $2 in at a time. That's where. Where do you think they get it from?
So you're telling me 100 million Americans jump in and buy that?
Well, no, it's not that much because it starts at like 50 million or something.
Okay.
And then it hasn't been won probably in 2 months, so it builds up every week. But now that once it gets to it's a logarithmic thing. It goes like 50 million to 55 million to 60, 70, 80, 90. All of a sudden it starts getting over 100. And then once it gets to 340, it's going to start going up like that. And that's when people are like, yeah, man, I'm going for $1 billion. I'm going $1 billion.
Yeah, that's when people like seeing that 340. I'm like, that's nice, man. I'll spend $1 to see if I could win that.
Right.
Or $2 to see, like, hey, $2. I mean, I think I've only done it once in my lifetime where I bought. I don't even think I have. I mean, I just am not into that. Like, And here's the thing, I wouldn't. Sounds weird. I know it sounds really weird, but I wouldn't want to make my. Do I want to?
Don't say it.
Million?
Don't say it. Don't say that. Okay, if you
know.
win, I will gladly take most of it off your hands and give a lot of it to the charities that you want.
Yeah, you're right.
As long as I take 50% of it home.
You're right. I shouldn't even say that. You're right. It's one of those things that, like, I mean, I would take it. Obviously, that's money.
Man,
that's
think of the good
money.
you could do with it. I mean, think of the hurt you're going to put on your liver, but think of the good that you could do with it also. I get a discussion with Mrs. Striking about this. In fact, I would say any guy out there that plays the lottery gets into this discussion with his significant other, and that significant other is before they even won. It's still 1 in 200 million chance to win, which you can get struck by lightning 45 times before this happens. And they're already saying no to whatever your dreams are with the money. So mine is always, well, we're obviously getting a private jet, right? And she's like, no, we're not wasting our money. And it's like, we're not doing that. We're not doing it. And I'm like, this is a theoretical talk here. We're not doing an MC Hammer here where we're getting rich and then blowing it on a posse. I mean, I might have to put a couple friends on the payroll so I have friends, But, especially if it's like $1 billion. I mean, 340 million, you get after tax and present value, you'll get 110 million. Okay. And a new Gulfstream is 50, 60 million now. So you're not going to blow 50 or 60 million. You're not going to blow half your money on a jet because your operational costs will eat you alive. But if you win the $1 billion one, you're damn right. You're getting the new G6, the G650 Intercontinental Express, whatever it's called.
I'm trying to think right now with interest rates, the way interest rates are working. You take half of that, okay, and you put it into the monthly treasure, the TM, the 1 month treasury, right?
Right.
Bill, and you sit there, that's 5%, like in a month. Like not in over a year, in a month. So you got $100 million. And listen, if the 1 month goes down, okay, I'll put it like this. You got bigger problems because if we see the 1 month go to zero, right? Interest rates, right? You got the U.S. dollar is nothing. Like, so most likely that's not going to happen. So if you have $100 million, let's just stick to $100 million. That's $5 million in a month, bro. like $5 million, dude. Like in a month. That's 1.25 million a week. What is that? That is
nobody's paying you 5% per month, though. I mean, that would be
bro. Yes,
that'd be 72%
yes.
per year.
That's what I was going after. This is why I keep bringing up this chart here.
No, let me get rid of the lottery here.
Like, this is why I'm bringing this chart. Like, this is the 1 month T-bill. It is at literally 5.1%.
No, that's an annualized number right there. It's not a 1 month number. That's an annualized number.
No, it's a 1 month.
That can't be right. We'd be broke. The U.S. would be broke. I mean, we're already broke, but we'd actually be cash flow broke.
This is why I keep telling you this, like, because people are like, look at the 30 year. The 30 year is nothing. Like, it's lower. Normally it's inverse, where the 30 year is higher than the it's much higher. Dude, this is ridiculous. This is what I'm trying to say. This is what's being brought up. Like that's what I'm trying to say. Like that, this is a big deal. A really big deal. And this isn't being talked about. This isn't being brought up in anything.
I mean, why do any other investments even exist? Why not just go buy that shit?
Right now, this is the climate in which we're sitting in. They're trading that. That's not always how it's going to be. But this has happened a few times in history. 2008, during the before the Great Depression, 2000, before the 2001 fall. This is why I keep bringing up this. It's like me and you, like I keep telling you this. Like this is a big deal. This is a glaring sign, potentially, that we're going to see a drop in everything. Like China is no longer buying our bonds. They're selling our bonds. We need people to come in and buy. We're getting ready for a war.
Right.
Like this isn't like I'm not playing here. I'm not like this is real. People have been literally the last 5 months, 6 months got 25% off of their income. Compound. Like dude, DYOR.
I am doing it right now, and everything said. All I'm finding is that it's an annualized rate.
It's a compound annualized rate. So you basically pull your money out every month. Boom, you put it back in. Is the one month T on a annualized or monthly rate. Annualized 5 to 6%. At time of writing, T-bills offer yield at an annualized 5-6%. Am I tripping?
I think so.
The
Yeah, I'm looking at Treasury
T-bond
Direct
rate
here.
is a monthly rate that reflects the yield of Treasury bill that has a maturity of 1 month. Okay, yes. To annualize the rate, you need to multiply it by 12 months. For example, if the 1 month T-bond rate is 5.54, the annualized rate is 5 times 5 equals, yes, exactly.
What?
66.48%. This means that if you invest $100 in a 1 month T-bond, you will receive 104.6 at maturity.
Yeah, right. But that's the monthly rate.
And if
They're
you
not showing.
invest-
Wait. Hold it. On the chart, they're not showing you the monthly rate. They're showing you the price of the monthly T-bill or T-bond, and the rate is the annualized rate.
Let me finish reading.
Okay.
This means that if you invest $100 in a 1 month T-bond, you will receive 100.46 at maturity. And if you reinvest the principal and interest every month for a year, you will end up with a total of $166.48. It's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, that's why I was sitting there going, wait, am I wrong? And then I was like, no, I know I'm not wrong. Like, I was like, and like, again, I'm always open to being wrong.
But why does it say over here annualized to 5 to 6%?
Because it's based off of if I don't know. I don't. That's why I sat there and guessed.
So
myself.
literally, Elon Musk could dump all his money and buy these bonds and double his money.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Is like these knuckleheads are doing that.
But I just listened to a thing about Tether and how Tether is making.
This is why they're buying T-bonds. This is why they're buying.
Right, but
T-bonds.
they're putting Tether's. I'm going to round it up to $100 billion for their market cap right now is $86 billion or something like that. Let's just round it up to $100 billion, and they're all invested in treasuries. They're saying that they're making $5 billion a year cash, free cash flow. They're not saying they're making $40 billion or $50 billion a year.
No,
I mean we couldn't afford it. I mean the U.S. couldn't afford that.
Bro, did you see this right here? Okay, again, like they don't. He does not care about this. What am I doing? Yes, debt. DE, debt. U.S. debt income. U.S.
No, but I mean, every year our basically our national debt would explode by 50 to 60 by 66%.
So that is not always how it has been. That is not always how it's been. Okay, it's always been substantially lower than the 30-year, substantially lower. Within the last 4 or 5 months, okay, it's actually not 4 or 5 months, the last 7 months, 8 months. This is why you see a lot of guys like us who keep bringing this up. Because the only time this stuff happens is when we literally see a turnaround in the market on a global stance, because everybody's afraid, and America needs money to pay for our lifestyles, to have clean water to poop in, to have all these things. And I'm just being honest, like this is real talk. Okay, Americans, for you to have clean water to poop in, which majority of the rest of the world does not have.
Right.
There's a hole that you squat and you poop. Okay, that's it, right? And then there's guys who come in who spray down the hole, throw disinfectant, maybe if that, right? And then boom, and then it's clean, boom, and that's it. And then there's a sewer, there's a water system that pushes out all that out into either lakes or, there's not even a filtering system in most countries. They just push it out into the lakes, that's what they do. Here we are. 30-year bond or 30-year interest rate. 30-year interest rate right now is literally 4.6 on an annualized sense. Okay, they cannot get people to buy, so they have to keep raising the rates, right? But you can see that it's dropping because there's not enough demand for the 30-year. Like, this is why I keep talking about a potential turnaround with the US dollar. But this is why personally I'm like, well, who's really like and your argument is perfect, literally with China and Russia. Like, nobody can trust them.
Right.
But with what's going on in the world overall in general, with America supporting certain things, we literally potentially could have a religious war that could turn the world upside down and kill. Like, this is why, okay, you can see how my brain works here, right? Like, I step back, I bring all the things together, and I sit there and I look at variables that potentially could happen, right? That's how I look at it, and then go, okay, what would this look like if this happens? And so this is part of that equation, is the 1 month to 1 year to the 30-year, or if you really want to look at the 10-year bond, and as well the 10-year rate is really what you want to look at, right? Like, that's really where everything kind of sits, because this is where a lot of car notes, this is where or the car year notes sits at 5, but sometimes 5 to 10. You have a lot of midterm bonds that get sold for debt, right, which is the 10 years. So this is where you look at 10-year right here, and you sit there and you look at the bond here, and you say, okay, should I buy the bond with the interest rate? How is that going to look? So this is why I sit there and go, how is this working? How is this 100 period moving average in relationship to the actual trend of the U.S. Interest rate, right? And so you got to sit there and quantify that, and then you look at how crypto is working. Then you need to look and understand how TradFi is working. Then you need to understand what is going on within the commodities and how that's all being played out. Then you need to look at a geopolitical standpoint and how things are working in relationship to the world. I know that's a lot. And if you really want to get really in detail, and they do a great job at this, is Blockworks Macro. They're great. I confuse this to most people. I try to talk about this and people get confused, and I'm like, no, look, it's simple but complicated. And so sitting there looking, Tom, you're like, what? I see, like, so this is real. Like, this is crazy. This is why most of crypto is in T-bills, right? Because, dude, that's money. Like, the people who are you want to know who is taking over China's position? It's crypto.
Right, stable coins.
It is stable coins who are buying the T-bills. And this is why Janet Yellen is sitting there going, dude, If you don't come into our thing, we will use everything possible to get you to, because they need us. But we're not willing to play their game because we understand that they're up against the wall. Because if literally, this is why they want to bring us. This is why they want crypto to come in. Like, I know, like right now, I'm showing the tin hat, Pedro, but it's like literally, this is literally what's going on.
No, I was just reading an article about that a few minutes ago. You're absolutely right.
I know I'm right. Like sorry, I don't want to be arrogant. Forgive me. That's wrong. What I'm saying though is that we're in a very precarious time in history. And when I keep saying Bitcoin, remember how you guys see me do my analysis on Bitcoin and what I expect? And I keep talking about the US dollar and how that all works. You'll sit here and see this and I know this sounds like gobble craziness. Like I know I look crazy here, right? But the reality is that it's real. And so this is one of my hypothetical scenarios that potentially could happen. I gotta calculate something real quick.
Yeah, I'm looking for that article.
Here we are.
Oh man, I can't find that article. It was good. Where else did I see this stuff?
So it's not gonna work. Why is it not working? My biggest thing is that we're in a state of flux right now where the world knows, and this is why I think Europe is sitting there really doubling down on cryptos, because America needs crypto. And Europe is sitting there going, America can't play without crypto. But it's almost like it's like America sees it as its child and trying to get the child in line. This is why you saw the SEC go to Vitalik. But they think like we're just going to roll over. This is why they're going after CZ. The next person they will go after is Vitalik.
Yeah, like, I'm sure that's, well, it's not with that. It's Vitalik's not the only one there. There's a big group of Americans and Canadians that were part of Ethereum. A large group of very influential Americans now that they've had a number of years to be wealthy.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Like, that's why you keep hearing me talk about the this is why you keep hearing me talk about the islands where you can't find these huge traders.
Right,
because their money can't be tracked. I mean, they can be tracked, but it's very hard, extremely hard. And they're smart enough to know, okay, look, we're here. This is what's going on. And there are thumb drives, there are hard drives that have billions, if not trillions of dollars that are sitting. This is why Janet Yellen is sitting there saying, y'all better start playing nice, or we are going to put the full force and use all of our tools, meaning CIA, and they're going to go after. And so we're entering into a point when, I talk about eminent domain, how I could see the government coming in and just eminent domain Bitcoin.
Like, well, eminent domain's a legal thing. I mean, it's not like they can do two things. They can go to court and sue for ownership of it, like they do for properties when they need a right of way, or they can nationalize an industry and
Not even that.
and you can't. There's no way to nationalize Bitcoin.
FDR goes through and takes gold out of American citizens. He goes through and literally puts people away. He literally said, if you do not give your gold to us for this war, you're going to jail.
Yeah, but that was later. That was later ruled, along with many of his things, was later ruled unconstitutional.
He did it. It happened. He went there and put Japanese Americans into concentration camps.
Also later ruled unconstitutional.
It doesn't matter. In the midst of a situation where America is at stake, you think that they're going to sit there and say, just like with COVID, shoot, dang it, just like with the cerveza sickness,
damn it, algorithm demonetized.
For real, dude. Like, I'm just trying so hard to remember. Like while I'm talking all this, you got to remember, like there are keywords you can't say, right? Like you just cannot say, or you get shot. So I want to sit there and not shot. But you know what I'm saying? Like it can.
Where's Pedro? Pedro es no más.
This stuff is real. Like this is stuff that potentially. So the reason why I say this is in 12 to 15 years, right? Like we could see a Bitcoin at 1.2 mil because America potentially, again, potential. There still has to have a lot of variables that are sitting here. It has to happen. So when I'm looking at this, certain junction points, right, in this next bull run, who's the largest person of holder of Bitcoin right now?
Largest person?
No, excuse me, entity. Who has the most Bitcoin in the world?
Well, until a few days ago, Binance. Unless they dumped it, but no, the government now is number 3. Binance and Grayscale jumped way ahead of them.
So basically, the reason why the U.S. government took out Binance because I'm pretty positive they're going to want to take
their Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's just that's what I would do, and the fact is that their golden boy, they have to send to jail now. So the next person that they're going to go after is Vitalik because Ethereum is literally the second in command. So like this stuff potentially could happen, and if there is a world war that breaks out, who's going to fund it? We are crypto. And so when I sit there and say, because the US dollar is not going to be accepted, I mean, we literally have Saudi Arabia telling us we're not accepting the US dollar. You need to have gold. We won't take your gold.
Saudi Arabia might say that for 1 second, but then when no dollars flow in for the next second, they'll be like, that was just posturing. Don't worry about that shit.
It just all depends, man. It all depends. Like, I mean, I want to sit there and agree with you. The only thing that is saving America is we've got the most war tech than any, or we have more development in war
all
tech.
You need to remember, Pedro, is that the currency that's most important throughout the history of the world, currency that's most important is the country with the largest and strongest military. There's no getting around that. In that if you like, when you do come up with a trading algorithm and you go back and see how it worked. You go back with the strongest military ever, and you see how strong the pound was in the early 19th century or early 1900s and in the 1800s. It was the currency of the world because Britain had the biggest army around the world. That didn't work out so well for them because they got a little lazy and started getting their ass whooped around the world. And then the dollar supplanted that. Before, the French currency was strong. The Dutch kroner was the currency of the Western Hemisphere for a number of years, especially in the Central America and South America and stuff like that. Then you can go back as far as you want to go back. The guys that have the biggest military. So while we still have this military and can afford it, we're okay. As soon as we can't afford that military, I mean, as soon as we pull back out of the Middle East, Iran's just going to just wipe all those people out over there. They'd be like, all right, we've had enough of you guys. America left. You're done. Saudi, all that stuff's ours. Iraq, thanks for the wars, but we'll take all your stuff.
But they buy our stuff. As long as they keep buying it's all about who buys our stuff. We need people to buy our stuff, i.e. T-bonds, i.e. XYZ. It's them buying our stuff that keeps America afloat. This is why we sit there and see the 1-month T-bond being above the 30-year Treasury. Now, here's the thing. We will see. We will see. I don't know what we'll see. But one of my scenarios is we see a U.S. economy drop. We see a high interest rate start to go up. We go back to the 1970s market or environment, right, where it is the bonds that rule the market. Because if you put your money into the S&P 500, i.e. the stock market, it's not giving you a better yield. So you want to go into bonds. And so this will happen for the next 10 years. This is why I said we most likely will see an interest rate for about 10 years at 10%. If you look at the last 30, 40 years of the bond market, it's been literally descendingly going down. Give me 1 second. Where is it at? 30-year ZB. Where are you at, bro? There you are. You can see here over the last 30 years that we've had our bonds going up in price, right? And then the interest rates, i.e. 30-year interest rate, going down. Now it's inverse, right? But we can't go back to the 1930s, or excuse me, not 1930s. I wish there are graphs to sit there and go, and I probably need to go and pull those up and figure that out. But the reality is this was coming from the 1970s, where you had at one point in time almost 20%, a 20% interest rate in the 1970s, right? This was finally when they made digital charts, right, in the 1980s, where they actually really started fully tracking it.
Right.
Not fully tracking it, but you know what I'm saying. So this is where we're sitting. The 5%, right? Like America was losing power in the 70s, even though like we had a lot of power because we produced a lot of goods and services in the 70s and 80s and 90s. It was in the last 20 years that we really started seeing a deceleration of us producing actual goods, like manufacturing and molding of steel, molding of but now it's,
all to China. See ya.
Yeah, it's all to China. Yeah, it's all to China. So this is why there's this give and take. America right now is at a standpoint where it's like, okay, we can pay our people, but we need a what do they call it? Not stagflation, de-inflammation. No,
deflation.
Deflation. Thank you. We need a deflation period of time, but that's going to be next to impossible, right? So how do we sit there and bring stuff back? Oh, we make deals with Mexico, South America for them to start producing stuff. Wait, there's nobody there to actually do this. So now we got to get people here in America to go down there to start developing instead of doing stuff out here over in China. Because why? Everything we're doing in China is literally we're giving them money. This is why, even though we don't like them and it's just give and take, America is still shaking hands with China because she just came over. That was the other thing. She came over to America. You guys know that? And was shaking hands and kissing babies last week, dude, and into this week. It's
they had the APEC conference in San Francisco.
Yeah, you have the CEO, the mayor of San Francisco, literally bowing below. This is the other thing. He was bowing below him. That's a big deal. He was showing subservient to Xi.
I don't know why we as Americans do that. I fail to understand. We make such a big deal about when we greet people using their culture, and
they don't do it. Yeah.
And they don't do it to us. And it's like, screw that shit. I'm gonna shake your hand, or if you don't want to shake your hand, I'll give you a high five. I'll give you the fist bump, whatever. I'm not gonna bow lower than you.
Yeah. Well,
F that guy.
This is
or lady. I think it's a lady now.
Forget it. I don't want to go there. Let's not say that, right? Because we don't know who's listening. And listen, in all respect, there's potential change in guard here. Honestly, it all kind of depends on what happens in the next. I want to be careful when I say this. In the next few.
When that big country over there changes its leader, is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking.
Because that's going to be a disaster. Ours will be a disaster. That's for sure. End of next year is going to be a mess.
So, and here's the thing. One thing about the Orange Man is he didn't bow below that dude. He shook his hand. And this is where, for me, like I've talked to friends of mine who are pro-Trump, and I'm not pro or against. I want to see best for America.
I want to see
wanna
that man in
best
jail.
for Western civilization. I want best for the way we have our way of life. And so if right now I need Orange Man to be bad to come in with the big club and talk loudly, okay. But the reality is this needs to change. This needs to change. Now, right now, this is moving up, okay? And we're seeing a little inverse where this is slowing down and this is moving up. You can see the actual speed of it. This is moving quicker than this. So this is a good sign. But in the same sense, it's all been predicated off of Orange Man's policies that he enacted a while, and Biden never got rid of them. So again, and this is all information that was given to me by other friends of mine. But the key is this, is that I want to see best for America. I want to see best for Western civilization. I like our way of living.
I do too. I do too.
I don't want to be a communist. I don't want to live under a regime, and I don't want to live in a socialist society.
We're not gonna. There's no chance of that. At least not until maybe 2 or 3 generations from now. There's no way that you could get all these Americans to
in my
change their
90s,
mind.
when I'm 90. When I'm 90.
It would literally take an armed revolt by young Asians to
Asians. Bro, have you been to, where do you live? Go to the inner city schools.
No, I know what you mean there. I'm talking about for it actually to sweep the country.
It's already sweeping the country.
I agree with you. There's stuff sweeping, but it's still such a small minority of people.
All you need is 1% of a society that is extremely dominant.
But they're not the 1% that votes, though. These young woke people are not the voters, and even in the last election, in the congressional election that happened in 2022. All these people are saying blah, 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 blah. They're out there protesting. Still, the number of them voted was a tiny, minuscule amount of the voters. They still can't get people 18 to 21 to vote for any reason. And never mind 21 to 24. It's such a small percentage. Still, the largest percentage of people that vote by far are the 50 to 75-year-olds. And that's where we are still. It's like 80% for them, 50% for the other ages, and then 0. It's like between very low amounts all the way down to 0 for under 30. It's just pathetic. Whereas in Australia, they have 99% voting because everyone has to vote.
You do? Wow, that'd be dope. I wish.
We only got a few minutes left in the show here, Pedro. As they say, there's today's my Thanksgiving, so I got to go hit the grocery store and prepare for the arrival of the young Strikings.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So there's just a lot going on in the world that is really interesting to sit there, to say the least. And watching what we're seeing overall, it's really interesting to sit there. And this is why I say that we could see a Bitcoin legitly within 12 years at $1 million, right? Like real, because what we are tying crypto to the.
That's about what, a 15x right now?
Yeah.
13 to 15x. Depends how you calculate that.
Well, it would be a 30x. So because we're at 30,000, so it would be about that, right? Because you're 30.
Oh, right. Right. Well, 10x would be 300,000.
Right. So it's about 30.
Right. 20 would be 600,000.
So,
right. 30x. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah. And so sitting there, this is why I sit there and I do these calculations going, okay, if we have this and this happens. And again, this is a few scenarios that go right with crypto. But if Janet Yellen really starts to push and do certain things, then how are they going to play both sides? Because we are the ones that is helping keep. And they are a worldwide network. This is, people think like they're a private entity. The Fed, they're not actually they lend America money, right? They create money. And anyways, there's just a lot here. And,
there is.
And
that's why there's always something to talk about.
Yeah. Crypto. But I'm glad we have crypto. I'm glad we have crypto because it is one of those things that is, Potentially.
It's borderless.
Yeah.
It's borderless, and people see value in it. And until the shine comes off the tulips, people will still keep.
I like that.
Yeah, or until someone invents a quantum computer that just busts the encryption of it and tanks the whole thing before they can. You know, that's the worry about everybody, though, is that some technology thing. It's not the what people put in it or how much everyone likes it and trusts it. It's the fact that, you know, it's still possible technology could come up with something. You know, all of a sudden Google says, hey, we invented the 1,000 qubit quantum computer, and it, you know, there's a million cats in Schrodinger's box, and they're all different states. And it's like, oh, watch Bitcoin. Boop. Oh, boop. We're winning every validator. Beep, beep.
Literally. But I think by that time,
Mike must have slept in today in the Great White North there. Well, thanks for joining us. We're at the end of our show today, Mike.
Yes.
We had a long rambling session. As they say, not a ton of viewers today. A lot of people went back to work. A lot of people are sleeping in. A lot of people are doing stuff with family.
Getting their good deals.
Totally late. He was up late last night. He was hitting that Manitoba nightlife last night. No, I grew up in a small town, and the excitement and partying and nightlife there was just as outrageous as it is in any city.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little town in Ohio. Never had so much fun in my life. It was.
Oh, wow.
Ka-ching still here too. Wow, we got the diehards out today.
Yeah,
Ching watched pretty much our whole show here.
Yeah, what'd you think about the show and my ranting and our rantings here? You're like, yeah, Pedro's a nut.
Ka-ching, tell us how you watch the show, because I always tell people to, you know, go from platform to platform so they can listen to it. Do you just have it on your desktop playing in the background while you do other things? Do you pop it on the TV? Do you have it on your phone? Goes back and forth. You paying for YouTube Premium so you can hear it no matter what? Let us know how you watch that.
Definitely be cool.
All
right, man. Well, I guess we could sign off here. I know you got to get going.
Still haven't heard from my kids yet, though. I mean, they're coming over in a couple hours, but I still got it. When I have this studio up here, I go overboard on things. You know, we just don't do a simple StreamYard talk, wonk wonk wonk, and 2 boxes. You know, I do all this stuff with the studio and Pedro and close-ups and all this kind of stuff here. Mike says he watches on the phone, and I do a little thing. So in my place right now, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different studio lights. I've got 3 cameras, 1, 2, and then 3 over here, of which only for this one I traditionally just use one camera, and there's like computer monitors out the wazoo and stuff. It doesn't go well. I have a loft style apartment here. A lot of you've seen when I don't use a green screen background, and it's like one big room with a big bedroom over on the side here, and if you want to entertain guests, this setup just doesn't work. And I have my motorcycle right here on the other side of the monitor here, storing it for the winter. And so YouTube on phone with one earbud in. I like that. That's what I'm doing, as a matter of fact. One earbud in. And so I gotta clean up. And the sink may be full of dishes. You know, the Mrs. Striking went home a few days ago back to Canada. So I've got laundry to do. I've got stuff to do. And on the 29th, I'll be driving back to Toronto. I got a crypto event in Toronto on the 30th. The other ear is empty, so I can hear the girlfriend if she has no idea I'm listening to something else. Exactly. And then later, after we're off, it's probably going to be like a live stream from FanDuel or DraftKings or something like that.
Nice. There we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got. Pedro, before we go, you got anything else here?
Yeah, so we just got confirmation with Dr. Martin Heinz Boeck. hopefully he'll come and chastise me on how I say his name. But he just said, yes, send invite. So I said, our show starts around 10 Eastern time. Is that a good time for you to come around and talk about cast? And he goes, sure, send invite. So
all right, next week I have only Monday, Tuesday available because Wednesday I'll be driving to Toronto.
Okay. There we are.
Just say we're available Monday and Tuesday of next week, and we'd like to promote it on social media too. That it's going to be on the show.
Yeah, Monday and Tuesday. We have to open. We would like to promote it on social.
We know that Pedro is a talker typer. I think that was I think that was a Seinfeld episode or something like that. Or maybe they were writing that they talk when they write.
Yeah, I definitely am.
But one of my friends, a guy used to work for me. His name was Tom. His girlfriend at the time would talk when she thumbed, and these were the older phones, would talk out what she was texting to friends with like her lips pursed, like. And so I saw her doing it once, and I don't remember her name. Let's call her Betty. I'm like, Betty, what are you doing? Like, I'm texting a friend. I said, I know, but I know your whole conversation, or your half of the conversation. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, your lips, you're telling everyone in the room what you're talking about. And she goes, oh, I hate it when I do that. I'm like, I asked her, I said, this is a common thing with people. Some people think in pictures, like I visualize things. Like I go get on the train and go downtown. I see myself walking over, buying a ticket, and getting on the train. And some people see like text, like a to-do list. They only visualize text. And I said, do you see pictures, or do you hear a voice telling you what you need to do, and you read lines in your imagination? She goes, I hear a voice and I read lines. What do you mean you see pictures? I was like, well, you're not a visual learner. You're not a visual person. It was so funny. She was talking about.
I am actually both. So I've trained myself to actually do 3 things of learning. Because I used to do sign, right? And I actually had major learning disabilities, right? Like major learn, like, there's a reason why I was in foster care, right? So there was major issues that I had. So I had to figure out ways, because certain material I can't visualize, certain material I can't audibly hear it, and some material it doesn't work for both. So I actually learned how to kinesthetically sign it, which then caused my brain to activate certain things. And so I think that's why I see things from different perspectives. I have the ability to be able to sit in an area and sit from a person's perspective and going, oh, okay, I get that. All right, right? And understand. And it helps with trading. So the visual learners they're always the funnest, because I can create images by saying certain things and knowing how their brain works.
So what you're saying is that you have generative AI for images in your brain. You give yourself prompts and poof.
Oh,
comes out.
Yeah. I actually have learned to tell my brain.
Sam Altman taps into your brain. Beep. Give me a picture of a Bitcoin slumping over like Salvador Dali. Beep. Pedro's brain.
I've gotten to the point now where I can actually tell my conscious and subconscious brain to start working on things, because I think I've done something with my brain where it's like I know how to, I actually become, most men when they become emotional have a harder time communicating. When I become emotional, I actually become better at communicating. And I've become much more, what's the word I want to use?
Loquacious?
There you go. I become very verbal and loquacious, and I become very smooth when I get upset. And it's a dangerous what's the word I want to use?
Pedro, no one's ever accused you of not being able to talk. No one's ever accused you of that, I bet. That Pedro, he just is too quiet, man. He doesn't know what to say. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you hear the music playing. That means it's time time for the day to end. Time for the day to end. Thanks, everybody, for watching DYOR Live today. Thanks to everybody in Canada for tuning in. I think today you were a big part of our crowd like yesterday. And I will be heading back to Kanukistan next week. I will be at the Canadian Blockchain Consortium Summit in Toronto, covering that for DYOR Live. Just not streaming from it, just gathering information to talk about it later with Miss Colia Carrington and the guys from Blockchain North, also from Flo Tevinen from Blockchain North. And so that should be good. And then after that, I'll mosey my way on up to Ottawa, which Chicago to Ottawa is the same distance Chicago to Jacksonville, Florida, if you can imagine that. It's crazy. Well, that's within 100 miles or so, or kilometers. And so that's what's going on next week. So we'll be on the air Monday and Tuesday. Most likely in the morning next week. Maybe morning one day if we have a guest at that time, maybe evening another day. Pedro and I will figure it out. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, once again, what's that?
Potential. So 3 things. 1, we potentially have the shadow statistics guy coming on next week. And additionally to that, most likely the CAS guy coming on, coming with that as well, probably sometime next week. So come hear him talk about CAS and what they're actually planning, what they were looking to do. We kind of, not that we're going to grill him, but I just really want to know, like, why is his community just so strong?
Why is it? It seems real. Why is it?
Yeah. And the backside is turn on your screen. Let me show my screen here real quick. You can see here, guys, remember, we were right here. The market had started going down here, and I said we should come down into this level here, if not further down at these lower levels here. We were sitting right
bounced right off it.
Yeah, yep, literally bounced right off. Now we're seeing it drop. So the next little part here, if this does continue, you want to pay attention to your 15-minute SMA, right? And we should see this come down again to these lower levels of that 36,900 area-ish. If you got in on that trade, please just make sure you're safe. Make sure you don't end up going negative. Okay?
Nope.
I hate that. Make sure you always receive a profit. Okay. Sorry about that.
Always receive a profit. Words from the wise. Buy low, sell high. Or it's the futures market. Sell high and buy low. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, as they say, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking. Once again, for Pedro and I and everyone else who appeared on the show today, which was nobody else. Thanks to everybody for watching. This is DYOR Live on the DYOR Media Network, and we will be back on Monday. So be there.